Today is going to be the spiritual awakening process. Fun, fun. We also have a special guest today here, my sister Molly, and she is going to be bringing in some of her knowledge and wisdom as well. And of course, I also have Relic and Jeffrey here with us as well.
Hello, folks. Good to see y'all again.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, baby, yeah. So again, today we are doing the spiritual awakening process. And what that kind of entails, because the process itself is inevitable, but everybody is going to go through it differently and have different experiences as well. So, Jeffrey, what is the spiritual awakening process to you? We're just jumping right into this, guys.
We might as well, because like spiritual awakening, like for me, is a very jarring experience for the most part. It's like you're asleep, and all of a sudden, like Sergeant Spirit's like, Jeffrey, wake up, cupcake. It's time to get to work. Like relationships in your life are false. The job you're in isn't the one you're supposed to be doing. You need to start doing different things. You're not on your life path. It's like you're starting to realize things around you aren't what you thought they were. Kind of certain relationships are false, and that you're not living in your best and highest good. And so the awakening process is very much about spirit kind of shaking you awake and be like, hey, you can be happier, but you're going to have to do some big changes.
Yep, yep. Relic, what about you? What's the spiritual awakening process for you?
Um, I think for me, spiritual awakening really is kind of about becoming aware of maybe the need to like reprioritize things in your life. It can come with a need to let go of relationships, but also I think sometimes maybe you realize certain relationships are important to you that you need to put more time or effort into. Maybe it's taking accountability and I think the awakening process is going to reveal different things for different people. It's a very individual thing, but yeah, it's just that kind of process of becoming aware of what you weren't paying attention to. A lot of it's, becoming more aware of your connection to something bigger than you. So your own, higher self, connection to that kind of aspect. And I think there's a lot of different catalysts, and we'll get into some of, those, but I guess that's the way that I would kind of sum it up.
Okay. And Miss Molly, what's the spiritual awakening process for you?
So, for me personally, it would be a tornado of transformation where everything kind of goes to shit, hits the fan, and then slowly starts falling back into place. It takes a while. And I do agree with Relic with the accountability, really owning yourself is a huge part of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So the first thing we're gonna kind of go over is a little bit more of the spiritual awakening itself and kind of some of the misconceptions that some people here see with the spiritual awakening as well, too. So we kind of defined the spiritual awakening process. Now what are some of the triggers? Like what would be some triggers that would cause somebody to go through a spiritual awakening?
Uh, like I keep seeing the story, so I'll just say like spiritual awakening for me at one point in time was outside smoking a cigarette in the rain, going, "Oh, this sucks!" Like, oh my god, like why does this keep happening? And I literally, Archangel Gabriel came down. He was like, "Jeffrey, I'm sorry you're going through this right now. If you have any questions, ask." I'm like, why does this keep happening? He's like, when are things going to change? I'm like, where do I need for shit to be different? And he was like, and I will never forget his response, folks, because it was literally like, wow. I seriously thought you were more spiritually awakened by now. When you ask questions with the W's, you sound like a spiritual 4-year-old. Why is the grass green? Why is the sky blue? When's Jeffrey going to fall in love? When you take the W's and the hows out of the equation, you actually ask much better questions. As one of your spirit guides, I'm allowed to give you much better answers. And like refiguring and learning how to rephrase my questions about what I was dealing with in my life allowed me to redirect myself. But it was kind of that it was a jarring moment. Like literally, like he came down full on feathers and all, like 20 feet tall. I was like, oh, okay, what's up, big guy? But like in that moment, it was like what I needed. And sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes you don't get a spirit guide that just literally comes down and comes to you. Sometimes it's like a succession of bad things that happens that makes you really think about what you're doing and where the direction you're heading.
So for me, like one of the big triggers for me was grief and loss. So to get kind of vulnerable here for a minute, I lost my daughter in 2018. I also went through a gnarly divorce. I also had to uproot my entire life. I lived down in Surprise in the valley, and I had to drop everything that I thought I was going to have for the next 20, 30 years of my life. And obviously a lot of this stuff was building between me and my ex, but also at the same time, I think at that time we were both actually done. When it actually happened, a part of me was like, "Oh my god, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do." So it ended up making me question everything in my life, the people that I had in my life, the job that I had, everything. So something like grief, trauma, things like that are a way to trigger that spiritual awakening process as well.
Yeah, I would say one of the other interesting things about spiritual awakening is it tends to not be just a singular moment in your life. And so it's going to come in waves almost. Like I would say I had some early awakening moments in late teens, early 20s where I started to kind of grasp some of the parts of me that were bigger than my body and bigger than like this, this lifetime. But I also think in a way that like sometimes you have that awakening, you have these great realizations, and then it's kind of like climbing to the top of a mountain. You get this really cool view, but you got to go back down into the city at some point and go back to your life. And so
I like that.
some of that like realization tends to kind of fade away into the background a little bit. And then you have some other catalyst come along in your life. And a lot of times it is like grief, loss, you lose a job, your relationship falls apart. That's like that tower card moment, right? For anybody that's
Mhm.
familiar with tarot, it's the moment where everything just kind of falls apart. And oftentimes those are really directly connected to your bigger spiritual awakening paths in some way. So if you don't like stick your head in the sand over it, you get a little bit further along in the process, and then you forget again, and then the next catalyst comes along, and then it's a little bit easier to
Right.
soak
Just
it all
don't
up.
don't
So
run from it. Go through it, y'all. Don't
yeah.
run
Right.
from it. It's happening for a reason. This is going to get you on a path where you're supposed to be. Even though it's going to feel chaotic and messy, there's still blissful parts of it as well.
Definitely.
too.
Like there's definitely like, when people have their children, kind of like that's an awakening in its own, a kind of a new realization of like a new path and direction that you're going on. There are definitely positive moments, but kind of again, awakenings like you were asleep, you weren't paying attention, like now spirit's like the house is on fire, get out.
Right. And it's embracing your true self. So like even triggers could be like I was just talking with Emma about this earlier. When I was younger, like I think I was 8, I remember smelling smoke and seeing an apparition of a little girl in her house. And like, so of course that terrified me, and you're little and
Mhm.
you don't want to embrace that at the time. But my awakening had to do with little instances like that just kept going
Yeah,
for
over
spirit to
time.
go, okay, it's time. You need to embrace this and you need to open up to it. So
Because we're gonna keep
yeah.
showing up no matter
Yeah,
what.
it's happening. It's happening. So absolutely.
Ignorance isn't bliss in spiritual awakenings. It's usually a fuse.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, don't be surprised if you feel kind of almost crazy. Like, you try to have conversation with your friends and they look at you like you're psychotic, but they're not understanding because they're not at that level yet.
Right.
Some people awaken before other people. Everybody has their time when they're going to awaken
And
spiritually.
one of the things that people like it seems to be a commonality is a big switching of friends in social settings. And like the best way I can describe or explain that, it's when you're in a spiritual awakening, you're raising your vibration and your frequency. And when you're around other individuals who are very comfortable in what they're doing, they don't want that to be altered. They're not in that phase yet. So a lot of times those individuals tend to want to drag you back down to the lower frequency. And that's kind of where that separation comes in. It's just like a natural kind of vibration that separates you from the individuals that aren't like helping you be your best and highest self.
Yeah, because there is definitely at some point, like with the awakening, it kind of comes along with an ability to just kind of accept the moment for what it is. You can be a little happier in any given moment. And sometimes people that are not so happy people are pissed off by people that are just like happy
Right.
for no good reason,
Right.
So
And doing positive changes for
Yeah.
themselves in
Right.
life. And like waking
Yeah.
up and feeling good.
Yeah.
Because that's the goal for the spiritual awakening. It's like you actually can live a better, happier, fuller life. So you can be honest with yourself in situations and keep toxicity and negativity out.
And be one with yourself and protecting your peace too. Like
Definitely.
the awakening is like not all puppy dogs and rainbows, and neither is spirituality itself. Again, there's like there are darker aspects to spirituality and the awakening, and that's not to be fearful of. It's for you to actually work through and kind of be one with it and balance it with the light aspect of yourself too.
One of the things that I really like that Relic says a lot is that every person in life can be a shaman. Every person can be a teacher. So kind of in that, it's like, yes, spiritual awakenings can be very jarring. There's some negative,
No.
but it's also sometimes it's like it's that toxic boss that you can't handle anymore that pushes you away from that job that is no longer good for you. It's like spirit shows you that everything can be used to your advantage to help you put yourself in your highest good.
I think the quote is actually everyone that is just your guru coming to you in different forms.
There you
True,
go.
yeah,
That makes
yeah,
more
that
sense.
makes more sense.
That's
Yeah.
why I quoted you on it
Yeah.
incorrectly.
Everything and like everybody is a mirror. Like everybody is a mirror of
Yeah.
some type of aspect of ourselves.
Yeah,
you know?
and
Better put.
Yeah, and again, a lot of times the awakening process comes with, like, it can come with realization that you need to remove toxic people from your life, but it also can come with realization, oh shit, I've been the one getting in my own way, and I've been
Absolutely.
sabotaging
I'm the
myself.
toxic one.
Right, I'm my own devil card now, right? So
Yeah.
Or like
Uh,
the relationship that I'm in is actually very positive. I've just been spreading myself too thin, and like I need to redirect towards my partner.
right.
Things
So
like that.
yeah, it definitely can come with that realization that you need to make some changes in your life. So it's not always like Emma says, it's not all puppy dogs and rainbows, right? Sometimes it's like the realization that you need to get to work and really do something different than what you've been doing.
Be accountable for your shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and I think that's where also as you are going through this process, sometimes it's going to, I would say also kind of coincide with like needs for traditional therapy outlets, traditional grief process work and all that stuff.
Yes, get help if you need that.
But I think again, it's ultimately it's a good process. It's a positive transformation in the long run. It's just not always, the most joyful moment right when you're going through it. So
I think it was Marcus Aurelius said that comfort is the killer of self-evolution. And a spiritual awakening is to make you feel like get you out of your comfort zone. So because we never stop growing, we never stop evolving. You're never not on the journey of the awakening. And it's like sometimes like spirit needs to nudge you back in different directions in different ways. Some can be positive, some can be creative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
great.
true. So, kind of moving forward with this, Relic, what would you say the catalyst or the call to the awakening? What would that be? What can people look out for or, step into?
again, I think a lot of times this is going to come as some sort of tragedy, loss. It's like it could be a car accident, right? Where you are injured and now you can't do what you were doing for a living, right? And you got to totally rearrange your life. It could be a loss of a loved one, something like that. But it also sometimes is more subtle. Sometimes it's like there's not necessarily an external event. It's more of like something internal shifts, and you're all of a sudden just like the things that used to be fulfilling are no longer fulfilling to you, right? A lot of times it's kind of a longing to seek fulfillment beyond physical, like you want deeper connection to others or to your higher self, truer purpose. So sometimes it's more that kind of internal, I think, feeling catalyst.
Almost kind of feeling
Um,
like there's something.
yeah.
You feel like you should be doing something more.
Yeah, like you're like all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, shit, I'm just going through the motions. I'm just working some job I hate and I'm just paying bills and living in this place and maybe dating somebody I don't even like or hanging out with people that aren't even good for me. And so a lot of times it's that, that kind of moment where you just wake up to the fact that things need to be different. And so again, it can be something very like, catastrophic external event. It could be more internal. And so I think you just know it when it happens for you. You know that moment. It's kind of hard to describe it in a way that it's one size fits all.
It's definitely something
Um,
that can build over time too, like, and the dam breaks all of a sudden. And kind of like, so like how you're saying it's not one big, huge event. It's kind of like everything just adds up. And all of a sudden you get to that point where you're like, man, I got to do something different.
yeah, I would say even like depression is a sign sometimes of like starting to get to that point where you're waking up a little bit, right? You're depressed because you're awakening to the fact that whoever you've been trying to be is not who you really are, not who you really, not what you really want to do with your time and energy. So yeah, I think sometimes it coincides with those kind of more, internal catalysts.
So, what kind of advice would you give people just kind of getting this call?
I think one, just trust, like, I think a good guide, a good inner compass is always like trusting the calling to the thing that brings you the most joy and happiness. So, like, if there's something you want to start doing with your life, even if it's just some passion project, hobby, artistic thing, and that's what's really calling to you, like, I think you kind of owe it. You owe it to yourself to explore that, right? So, you trust that kind of inner compass. I think meditation and just kind of slowing down a little bit is sometimes a really good place to start. So, taking a few minutes out of each day to just be, maybe go for a mindful walk or just sit and breathe for a few minutes. Sometimes journaling or even like doing a video, like, doing a little video blog for yourself kind of thing to just be able to get your thoughts out. If you have an enlightened or awakened friend, find somebody you can talk to. But we kind of hit on that a little bit already, that sometimes when you're going through this, the circle of people that you have around you might not be the most receptive to hearing what's going on for you. So, if you have the right person, talk to somebody about it. If not, again, just like journaling, writing, meditating, working with your guides too. Don't be afraid to like ask your guides for help. We got a whole episode on inner temple work. So I think that's another good place to start. If you haven't watched that one, check it out.
So, once you start the awakening process, this is the part where a lot of people tend to get scared and walk away from it, or they go back to their original religion, Christianity, Catholicism, or anything like that, too. So, Molly, let's explain and break it down to the peeps on here about the dark night of the soul.
So, the dark night of the soul, this is when Relic touched on this a little bit, where you're basically losing who you thought you were because it's not supposed to be there anymore. So, again, this can come in waves of depression, anxiety, things you love to do, you don't do anymore. Because it's not who you're meant to be, you need to shed that self. So, with the dark night of the soul, it's very important to really be in tune with yourself and sit with yourself. So, again, through meditation, grounding, journaling, really like journal through where you start and where you end through this dark night of the soul. There's going to be parts of you that you discover, whether that be your intuition, your abilities. This will all start to kind of flourish and bloom through when you're in the darkness. And it's not a scary thing. It's just the seed can't grow unless it's underground. So you are the same. We have to be able to bloom.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. Well put.
And then also kind of going into it too, once you kind of go through that dark night of the soul, this is where you're going to start the integration phase, the actual healing phase. Now, the dark night of the soul happens so that you become aware of the darker aspects of yourself that you might have had to use in the past to get through a situation, or stand up to somebody if you had to. Pretty much it's like you being the asshole because you had to be the asshole, and you have to accept that you were the asshole as well. So the healing and the integration part of that is learning how to release the trauma, releasing the emotions. And I'm going to tell you guys this too. Healing trauma does not mean that it's going to go away. It just means that you are going to learn how to live with it differently and how you are going to react with it differently. Trauma and the things that happen to you will never go away. It is in your power to decide whether you want that to dictate your life or not. So, pretty much during the healing and the integration phase, this is where there's going to be, again, more shadow work. There's going to be more therapy if you need to see a therapist. This is also where you're going to be getting like energy clearings, tarot card readings, aura readings to kind of see where you're at energetically with a lot of this too. And another big thing with this too is inner child work, because we all know nobody had the perfect childhood. Somebody wasn't heard, somebody wasn't seen, something happened, and things like that. A quick snippet: a lot of the inner child work that I've done involved me in some type of meditation, talking to the younger version of myself and telling her that she's okay. And like, hey, we fucking made it. Look how far we are now. Let's give ourselves a hug and a pat on the back. Like, good job, you know. And then also some tools to use with that, again, is like Reiki, energy healing, getting the confirmation and clarification through psychic readings or pulling cards on yourself. And also just being easy with yourself too. If you sit there and you are so hard on yourself, then you're not doing what is supposed to be done. So be compassionate with yourself. That's, I want to say, the best thing to do, especially through the healing and integration phases of a lot of those spiritual awakenings. So, Jeffrey, you're going to kind of hit the topic of like the reconnection and the expansion phase after that as well.
So yes, definitely. Spiritual awakening, like one of the things I like that you were talking about, Emmy, is a very much a healing process. And so one of the things that sometimes you see with people that come out here to Sedona, like life is a healing journey. I'm like, no, it's not. It's actually not. It's really not. It's a part of life. Like it as above, so below, as within, so without. It's like I've cut myself. It's bled. It's hurt. There's the bloody phase. There's the scabby phase. There's the itchy phase, and there's sometimes if it was a deep cut, it leaves a scar. So kind of like when you're doing the healing journey or you're doing the spiritual awakening, it's like you're going through these processes. It's going to it has phases to it. And so one of the things that it has really helps you get to the reconnection phase that kind of like I really would like to reintegrate is like the ability to sit still. And in that stillness actually be able to let stuff go, because you cannot plant flowers for your future if all you are doing is tending to the weeds of the past to avoid them. And kind of in that, it's like that's why you need to sit still. That's where the shadow work comes in, kind of the dark night of soul that Molly was talking about, so you can feel the healing. But like in the reconnection phase, it's like you've let go and you've created space energetically and spiritually for yourself, so you can bring new things in. This is where you start reconnecting with spirit guides, with spirit animals. This is where your psychic abilities and empathic abilities, like you start to own them energetically for yourself and wield them for yourself in a positive way that actually produces better light for you and those around you, other than it being taken advantage of and manipulated. Kind of that's in like the expansion phase. It's like you're happy, you're good. Like, I'm not saying bad shit doesn't happen now, but how you deal with it and how it affects you and your emotions is completely and entirely freaking different. Things that used to be very destructive to your day or your week, you like brush off your shoulder without even thinking twice about it. Like, this is the point where like you got the mentality of like, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, I really don't give a flying rat's ass about it.
Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Right.
Exactly. Not my pig, not my farm.
Yeah.
Kind of like you really just know what's yours, and like people can't put things on you. Like Carl Jung, like a psychologist who worked a lot with empaths, like he's like, once an empath has a spiritual awakening, like no one can run a game on them ever again. Like, because your energy is too clear and pure. Like you're basically a human lie detector. And here's the other thing, like you're also incredibly tuned into the signs and synchronicities, like the sirens in the background right now, kind of like going on. But it's like when you're on your awakening path in that reconnection phase, like you see like 1111, like you think of a song, then it plays, like an old movie, you like, then it's in your Netflix feed. Like that is like direct messaging from your spirit guide saying you're on the path, you're headed the right direction. Keep doing what you're doing. You feel good. Like this is like what you did all the hard work for. And again, it's just like, it's not like bad things don't happen. Your car doesn't break down, but it's like, instead of like you freaking out and kicking and screaming, you're howling and squaring and going hoarse. It's just like, well, shit happens. Maybe I'll meet a nice tow truck driver. Who knows? Like you just let it flow.
You look more for like the synchronicities and stuff instead of more of like the negative things. Like, oh, now I'm
Exactly.
gonna be late and this and that. You're just like, oh well, there was a reason why this happened.
And it's like, and when bad things do happen, like if it's something extreme, like a family member is ill or something like that, it's like, it's okay to have the blues. It's okay to feel sad about things, but it's like, you know how to allow those things to flow through you and not like stick to you. So kind of that's the reconnection and expansion phase.
So, pretty much everybody, like, the spiritual awakening is not just something that you do one time. This is going to be a process throughout your entire life. We're souls having a human experience, and part of that human experience is kind of one, enjoying the things on planet Earth and having fun, but also two, kind of remembering why we came here to have that human experience. What are we doing to evolve and expand our soul and things like that too? So it's a lifestyle. It's something that you do every day. It's not something that you just, do it for a week and then you're good.
This isn't a fad diet. This isn't the South Beach diet by any means.
Yeah, I think one of the really cool things about awakening is the farther you go into the process, you do kind of bring that quality into more arenas and aspects of your life, right? So yeah, at first it's easy to sit still in a quiet room with incense burning and soft music in the background. It's easy to be spiritual in that environment, right? And kind of so the goal is to be able to be in that same mindset when you're scrubbing a toilet, right? Or doing the dishes or whatever. So if you can take that same kind of quality of energy into the other parts of your life, I think that's really where the magic starts to happen. So yeah, I think that's a really good thing to kind of take away. And then I just want to really drive home what Amy was talking about self-compassion. I think that is incredibly important because it is a ongoing process. You go through it and then you go through it again and again. It's kind of a never-ending cycle. And so just be easy on yourself, be compassionate, but have fun with it. Don't be afraid to enjoy the process, right?
Yeah, absolutely enjoy it. One thing I do want to touch on though is always use your discernment with these things.
Yes.
Do not let yourself get into a whirlwind of, well, I'm just going to say it, psychosis. We always need to remain grounded. We need to trust our intuition, but spirit's never going to tell you to go drive your car off a bridge. So you really have to use discernment when stepping into your spiritual self.
Right.
If something like that does start happening, definitely recommend
Seeing a therapist.
getting help. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But always, again, just my main thing is discernment and really trusting.
Yeah, I
well.
totally agree with that. Like, spirit is not going to sit there and constantly talk to you
Yeah.
all day and tell you what to do, when, where, and why. Spirit will give you nudges.
Yes.
Sometimes if the message really needs to be heard, you will hear them loud and clear. But spirit does not dictate your free will at all.
Absolutely.
It's not going to sit there. Should I do this? Don't ask spirit, ask yourself, because they can't sit there and tell you what to do. That's just not how it works. And same thing with like archangels and ascended masters and things like that too. They come to assist you with certain things and not telling you how to run your life. Now, you can ask them for signs. You can ask them for, play this song if this is what I'm supposed to do, or if this is the right path to take with this. Or show me this color car, But also, when you ask for those signs, don't sit there and hyper focus on those signs, because guess what? You're going to miss it. You're going to miss it. So ask for the sign, surrender it, and move on with your day. But again, like, I totally 100% agree with Molly. Like, spirit, there's the confirmation. Spirit is not going to tell you what to do all day, every day. And if that's the case, again, please seek professional help.
And
Please.
and just understand that this is a process. This is life. You never stop growing. You never stop evolving. And here's the thing: like, life and spirit is going to throw things at you as you grow as a tree. Sometimes you're going to have some cold, harsh winters. Sometimes you're going to get hit by lightning and lose your favorite branch. Kind of like, things are going to happen, but there's usually method to the madness that you can't see. So kind of just like embrace that energy and kind of just be able to sit still and not take things over seriously. Sometimes can be like the best thing for you to like allow things to flow, like let go of the reins a little
I
bit.
think we covered that in a couple of our other episodes too, of like,
But one thing I do really, really want to say is, like, especially when you're asking for signs, like how you ask questions to spirit really does dictate the answers that you get.
they do have a
Kind of,
sense of
and
humor.
they do, and I like to say to tell my clients in readings that when you take the W's, the what, the where's, the when's, the why's, the how's out of the questions that you're asking, spirit like almost instantly puts you like in the Ascended Masters program. Because do you have any idea how whiny and annoying human beings are to spiritual guides? Like, could you imagine being around for thousands of years? Like, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? Like, what am I going to fall in love? It's just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, you take the W's out of the equations, you start asking questions, you will get a lot better answers for what you want moving forward. So, but in that, it's like that just kind of like fertilize you to help you grow a little bit quicker and kind of get better blooms.
And to kind of go back on the shadow work aspect of it, a big thing that happens during that period is your ego death.
And shadow work is something we could literally do an episode
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
which is-
yeah, and
yeah.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. And I'm pretty sure Miss Molly is going to be joining us a lot more as well, too. So everybody
Hope
get used
so.
to her pretty face. But the ego death is not like the initial, like you're getting rid of your ego. Like that's not what that is. An ego death is not letting your ego constantly take control and kind of balancing out your ego and your compassionate side.
But it always
well.
rears its horns
It
before that
does.
happens.
It is, yeah, and then you
Go.
get into this
Yeah.
like this energy of like, screw this, my ego's gonna take over, and then also at the
Right.
same time, I should probably stop. I don't want to be a bitch. Like I catch myself
Yo-yo.
saying that all the
Spirit-
time. I don't
spirit-
want to be a bitch.
Spirit definitely likes to dangle things in front of you. Like a lot of times, like when I'm working with certain, like sometimes with certain clients, it's like they're like, should I be in the relationship with my ex? I'm like, Spirit's dangling the exact same thing that didn't work out before in front of you just to see if you'll fall for it again. It's a test.
Yeah, it's gonna test you of like, are you
It's a
going to try this again when you already know what the outcome is gonna be, or are you gonna react differently than last time? You know, so just be mindful. Be mindful, y'all.
And
Yeah,
you're
there-
gonna stub your toe. Just realize that.
Yeah, and spirit's always not going to make it, they're not always going to make it easy, right? So you're going to have to use your own discernment sometimes. And I think that it's interesting that there's also, I saw, just to like piggyback off the like, spirit's not going to tell you to hurt people, do bad things, right? We see this popping up with AI a lot now. AI's given people crazy ideas and suggestions. So yeah,
I
don't
think they're trying to put a cap on that, though.
Yeah,
like
so-
with AI and spiritual tarot readings and things like that. I think they're trying to kind of put a cap on.
Yeah, and I specifically with like spirituality stuff, I've used some of that to do like just my birth chart for astrology, and they'll like the same system will give you two different like things back to
Mhm.
back. So yeah, just be careful where you're getting your information, especially if it's from like AI sources. You want to trust your own inner compass, right? That's the best.
Your solar
Um,
plexus chakra,
yeah.
your warrior. If it feels off, it probably is
Yeah.
off.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, spirit will like they'll like you said, they'll dangle that same stuff, and it's kind of that's the free will thing. It's like they're gonna offer you to jump right back on the merry-go-round, do the same thing all over again, but you don't have to. You get to choose to say no to that also, and awaken to the fact that, oh, that's not what's good for me anymore, right? So I did that. I learned that lesson. Now I'm moving on to greener pastures. So you do, again, you have that choice.
Does anybody have anything else to kind of add? Any wisdom, any advice for our awesome listeners?
I think we did a really good job. I think we covered almost pretty much freaking everything.
Did
Like,
we do a good job, guys? Did we
let
do
us
a good
know in the
job?
comments. Please like, subscribe. Don't overthink this.
No.
Be kind to yourself. It makes it easier when you're going through a spiritual awakening and when you're not like, I'm stupid, stupid, stupid. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's what we're trying not to teach you. It's like, be good to yourself and sit still. Sitting still speed things up.
And this process is never ending. This process is gonna
Right.
go through until the day you decide to go to the other side. But there's gonna be different layers and levels of the spiritual awakening. So initially, a big initial awakening is going to be more of like, hey, there is more to life. Hey, everything is connected energetically. Hey, this isn't what you've been taught. And it's okay to go on a different path than everybody else and things like that.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Apparently that's what I was just
Yeah.
supposed to say.
Just trust how it comes into you guys. Sometimes it's a catastrophic event. Sometimes it's a book you read, right? Like I think
Oh,
one of
yeah,
my first
absolutely.
awakenings was from Peaceful Warrior. So shout out to Dan Millman. But yeah, I mean, it comes to you in the form that it needs to. So trust how it comes to you. Be gentle with yourself. You got this.
Absolutely. And I have a suggestion. Definitely go watch the spiritual hygiene episode, especially when you're starting your spiritual awakening.
Yes,
You got to keep
yes.
your aura clean. You don't want to pick up crap from Joe Schmo that you just walked by who was in a bad mood and now it's stuck on you. You want to make sure you're keeping yourself clear, grounded, and this will go a lot more smooth. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us, guys.
And one more thing too.
Oops.
It's not about becoming something new. It's almost kind of remembering and bringing forward what you already are. And like all of us have said before, just don't be so serious. Be easy on yourself and just trust the process, guys. Trust the process. So, yeah.
Deuce, peace. Keep fighting the beast.
Peace out, y'all.
Hey y'all, we're keeping it real, so keeping
Yeah.
it real.
And then if you guys are in Sedona, remember, stop by in the center. We are here every day, 10 to 6. Come on in, get an aura photo, get a reading, check out all the giant crystals in the lobby.
Get the universe's best vortex guide for free.
It's
Made by Jeffrey and Relic.
True stories.
Yeah.
All of it.
Well, guys, also keep an eye out for our next episode, which is actually going to be etiquette that we would like to share for clients and what clients should do to prepare for their readings, their aura photos, and things like that, especially when people book ahead of time. We'll get into it. We'll get into it for the next episode, but yeah, the next episode is going to be etiquette for clients coming in and getting a psychic reading. Well, thank you guys. We loved having you here, Molly. We're hoping to see you next time on our other episode. And everybody have a great day and thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys.
Namaste.
Thank you.